Okay, so chapter 2, we're going to take a look at this motion time study in lean environment. It's just a manufacturing environment, but we use, again, a particular technique in that environment, and we call that lean because the cost is pretty low in this kind of manufacturing environment. Okay, so here we're going to take a look at what's lean environment. So it's actually, this word lean comes from James Womack, and he wrote this book, The Machine That Changed the World. But this author actually get the word lean from this guy, John Crawford, but he didn't get credit because he didn't write this book. So the guy who coined the word lean is from the MIT. So they all at that time was studying Toyota production system in Japan. So there's abbreviation for that system. System again is as you know, the motion and time study is we are studying the design, okay, of the manufacturing production system and measurement of the time for these activities in that system. So every time you take a look at things that, you know, like in engineering and engineering technology, industrial technology, you're going to see the word system all the time. So here, this is, we call it a production system because this production is a manufacturing, okay, company, and the system that they use to run that company is completely based on minimum, okay, minimum, how should I put this, right? As low cost as possible. So this system is designed to eliminate everything that is not necessary, that shouldn't be there, okay, all eliminated. And so the word lean, running the system with minimum cost, okay, minimum cost. So therefore the profit is real huge, and efficiency is also really good, okay. So everything flows smoothly in that system because they make that flow efficiently by designing the motion in the manufacturing production. We call that the production line, okay. So that's a TPS, and again is completely formed by motion and time study, and again they're all techniques in the system, and we call that lean because the cost is at minimum. The cost and investment, of course, to run the business and to produce for Toyota is cars, okay. So eliminating major mass production waste. Muda is a Japanese word meaning is waste. Again, the technique in this system is to eliminate. What are we eliminating? We're not doing mass production because mass production needs space to keep the excessive products before they go into the market. Pull the system, meaning like we're going to produce only the order we receive. So we call that the pull system. Okay, and that comes from the customer order. Only when the customer order, we're going to run the production. And in other words, we call pulling the production system. Short term is just pull. So meaning like eliminating the excessive inventory. So you save money and space. Inventory, everything that you've got to keep at the company costs time and money. So if you think about outside real world and service industry, you want to see the dealership, and you're going to see, you know, businesses selling some products. They always have their own inventory, to keep these products on the shelf or at the selling place, and to keep that product at that place, okay, takes space, and everything thus takes space, okay, uses time and money. So lean system is targeting to reduce any kind of cost, okay, unnecessary cost, of course, and the target to increase the profit by reducing the cost. We're increasing the profit. How do we reduce? We eliminate. How do we reduce? We only do the production according to the customer order, and we're not going to keep anything in the inventory except the things that we need, okay, essential raw materials to produce, and also the essential products, okay, just enough, all right, to put into the market according to, again, to the customer order. Of course, there's plus and minus deviation. That's walk around, right? Walk around inventory is always there, but this inventory is way less than the mass production inventory. Okay, so there's no waste, or very minute waste in this kind of lean environment. The original name is Toyota Production System, but then everything, okay, that is personal, even in business, is personal. My personal name, Toyota or Ford or whatever. They don't want to give that, all right, identification to a certain company, so they get rid of the word Toyota, okay, and put the common word lean in order to identify this type of production system. So original name is TPS. Later we call it lean environment. Now we're progressing into something else that is going to be updated probably within the next 5 to 10 years, okay, because every time there was a system born and it was useful, you always have criticism, okay, and that's the nature of people. Business is the same thing. The nature of businesses for a competitive advantage, okay, and also to survive in such dynamic world, they always have to update the system, because every time a system is successful, you will always have a group of people, group of businesses that try to weaken that system, okay? So therefore, a system can survive only a period of time. So once the system been thoroughly understood, okay, it can also be weakened because of the fact that a lot of people come to understand running of that system efficiently, so they try to put how can I say, roadblock to give some turbulences in that system, okay? So the issue that we are facing right now, okay, for the lean environment to survive is the supply chain, because the supply chain is a backbone of the lean environment efficiency and also success. So there are a group of businesses that is destroying the supply chain in order to control, okay, the success of certain businesses or corporation in the world. So our supply chain is from last year now being attacked, okay, and this is intentional, by the way. So in order to pass, all right, those roadblocks, you have to come up with again an updated system. How are you going to solve the issue, right, of the supply chain? Okay, so you have to come up with something. So in next 5 to 10 years, you'll be seeing the updated lean or trade production system that is going to solve the current issues on supply chains. Okay, so again, you are experiencing in the industry environment, production environment, production system environment, I should say, the improvement of the systems. And the issue that we're trying to solve right now is the supply chain issues. Okay. Again is a motion and time study. Okay. It's an ongoing thing, the system improvement, and the system got to be improved because every time you face a conflict or intentional disturbance or attack and things like that, then you got to come up with a better design to pass all these roadblocks so that your system is going, so that you're making profits and continue to run the corporations, global corporations all over. So people do that, okay, because again, it's a competitive advantage in the global market, right? You want your product to be successful. So the supply chain is a big thing for any production industries to run. Okay, so anyway, that's what we're facing right now, the current issue. All right, so let's go to the next one. If you want to implement a lean system at your company, we use an approach or method procedure that's from generally 1 to 5. First, we look at the value, okay, at each action step, and we pay attention to the value of, okay, that's under motion, by the way, of each step in your business, and then arrange the value added actions again in sequence. Okay, so you start to get the value, and then you're going to form a sequence, and then you're going to make sure the sequences have no interruption. Okay, right now the lean system is being altered because it is depending on the supply chain. So now we're having issue on the supply chain. So that's, in other words, is an interruption. Okay, and you always have to make sure these sequences on the procedure processes in the business got to be all connected, and each step got to have a significant value. If there's no value, we eliminate them because there's no time to do it, because you don't have any kind of value to do it anyway, so it's just a waste of money. So put demand pull sequence. So customer order is gonna be at the end of the production. Okay, when the order come in, we're gonna produce. Okay, we're gonna start pulling the system. Instead of regular mass production, doesn't matter the customer order, we don't think about it, we always produce. And then they pile up here, and the customer comes and order and you ship. Okay, so this is mass production, nature of the mass production. Right now, the customer order and then you're going to produce. So everything in your production system got to be up and running in order to meet the demand of the customer. You're going to set the heavy training, and you're going to have a heavy monitoring of the system, because we got to make sure the system is always effective and running. Okay, so that is the only big money that they spend in lean system. So the reliability is almost perfect. Okay, really good. We're about 80% good, and make the performance effective. Reliability of the regular system is about 60% most of the time. The reliability of lean system is about 80%. Okay, that's pretty good. Plus or minus, of course, some percentages. So anyway, that's a little bit about the lean system, TPS. If you want to implement it, this is a general idea, okay, of how to do it. Of course, there are many details in each step, but you don't have to know all of it. If you can get the big picture, it's good, okay, at this stage. Alright, let's go next one. So every time you have a system, right, you don't just leave that system to age. We keep the system always really, fresh. I call it fresh or effective. So how do we keep it? We do analysis all the time. Come from monitoring, okay, results of your monitoring and monitoring procedures give you results analysis, and we analyze these results. So the analysis of the production system is nothing but we're looking at the operation and processes in that system. Okay, you have operation, you have processes. Okay, they're all linked together, and that's what we call system. The system have parts, and they're all function. Okay, relative to each other and connected to each other, and they're all in collaboration. And we integrate the system that way, okay? All parts working together to produce whatever you want. Your end product of that your production system is. So operations, process, in a system, monitor, analyze. To do what? Again, reduce the cost, improve. Okay, we have good things, we have bad things of the system, and you're gonna learn everything about your system, okay? And maintain the cost reduction, and then maintain to improve. It's a never-ending process of improvement. That's why we call it continual improvement or continuous improvement. Okay, there are many different names. So it's all about monitoring, watching, observing, thinking, analyzing, learning, correcting, okay, solving issue. To keep our main goal is to keep the business running, to keep the production going, and we're gonna use as little money as we can, right, to increase the profit. So it's good for everybody. All right. Erase this. The video lectures are not the YouTube, okay, showcase. It's not like that. It's just we use some sort of a canvas here as a digital whiteboard, and so we can write on it and you can take a look at it from anywhere, anytime. So don't try to think it is a presentation outside. It's not a presentation outside. This is a teaching board, whiteboard. Okay, and we will definitely give you the external educational resources. Okay, made by many creators in the world, and they're pretty good, right? Come with the music and all animations, so keep you interested. But for school, all right, scholarship is different. Scholarship is not just watching or trying to learn something superficially or entertaining. Studying is you have to think, and you have to take that knowledge little by little, and it won't go in at one time. Okay, you got to do it again and again until you get it. So the only difference between a human brain and a computer chip is computer chip, you gotta input only one time and stay there in the memory until you erase it. A human brain is made of protein, okay, protein, lipids, and in other words, flesh, right? So therefore, for the flesh to stay in structure, right, the intact memory, you have to put in repeatedly, okay, repeatedly, so that your brain memory is updated. So since you're eating and doing all kinds of structure thing, and your DNA is a little thing, okay, and it's shaping the structure in your system, and we're all CHO, the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen creatures here. So our system is a very it's a loose system. It's not like the rigid computer chip. So anyway, the point is studying is you have to read, watch, listen, and do it again and again. Write, think, recall, reflect, okay, and do it again. So you actually get that. Otherwise, you listen one time and just gonna go out from the other ear, okay, in like 3 or 4 seconds. So make sure you study, okay. All right, so let's go to the next one. So here is a lean tools methods to improve the system. So I have some diagrams right here. So the tools are commonly used tools, of course. And which system are we using these things? It's in lean environment. Okay, we use Gantt chart project. We're gonna manage that project, and we use this tool, and it's just a table, yeah. And we're looking, we call that Gantt because that guy invented it. Yeah, it's just looking at time and what are you going to do. He says your element, your task. Task is, in other words, a motion. If you say motion, I mean like activities, elements of your work. Task 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the time estimated time it would take to do those, okay, tasks. And they have different colors. So black one was completed, this is planned. So first you plan and you completed only this, you have to go that much, yeah, according to this timeline. So anyway, the project management too, so you know where your project is and what you have done and what you have not. Durand trilogy is nothing but in order to improve something, you want to control something, okay? And there are also things that you cannot control. So we are analyzing that, controlled, non-controlled. Therefore, we can improve. And again, another table looks like this, okay? And these are the limits. Since we're controlling, you always have a standard that you want your process to be in, and you have your standard deviations, okay? Another one is PDCA. P for plan, and D for do, and C for check, and A for act, okay? And we're gonna run our system. Here is in TPS, so that's a lean. How do we maintain and improve that system? Is again, we plan, we do, we check, and then we act, and we do it again and again, again, and again, again, and again. Why? Because the system is not always good. It's always going again. Don't forget that little trend like that, okay? It's always like this. Why? Because it depends on who, people, okay? People and the production environment. So living things, non-living things. And they are all, in other words, we call them factors, okay? Factors affecting the production process or operation. And there are many operations, many processes right in there. So, and there are many people who are doing that, okay? Part of the system jobs. And so you always have to improve the system every time something go down, go back, go down, you put it back. And in order to do that, you use 3 common tools. Okay, so that's a lean, control, and improve system. And those are the techniques that we use to control the motion activities and then measure the time it takes to do these, to stay in the standard at least. Okay, or go beyond that. All right, so another technique or approach. This time we're going to look at quality and improvement. Okay, so that's what we do. We have 4 approaches for quality and improvement. 1, 2, 3, 4. First, we're going to keep the defects low, and that's for the manufacturing stability. Just a big word. We want to keep defects low, bad products low. We're going to use organizational effort, because you can't work alone. Since it is a system, you have to work with other people. And we call that performance. And you have to improve the performance. You can improve your performance. It's under your control. But you cannot control other people's improvements. And you have to coordinate and collaborate, okay? Between people who are all different, with different attitude, different emotion, a different way of seeing things. It's a chaotic environment. But the chaotic environment got to be performing at least within a standard expectation. And that can only be done by the system. Okay, how you design your system based on what you study for the activity motions and the time measurement. Okay, so that is completely organizational effort. Cannot be able to do it alone. Now, you always have to do the audit to the system. Okay, you can't leave the system alone in order to improve, in order to keep the quality. You have to keep monitoring and audit. Okay, so that's going into continuous improvement. And every time you improve something, every time you have audited, you have to record everything, and that goes into recording, analysis, okay, judgment, planning, correction, and certification. Yeah. Now we're gonna target a process program to improve, and this is where we use something called Six Sigma. It's targeted. Okay, Six Sigma is we go into aggressively improve a process or an operation, so targeted ones. So these are anyway all 4 approaches that we do into quality measurement and improvement. Because your product, you don't want to make bad products, okay, or horrible products, and nobody is going to buy it again, right? You want to make a quality product that the customer come back and look to buy, reliable product. So that's what we practice heavily. And lean environment again is originated in Japan, and Japanese people are known as perfectionists because they work, and they really work. They have to, because the places, I mean the country space is very, very small, and there are too many people in a very limited, okay, small country. So you gotta really work hard. So there's a saying, people who live on the island, they are very sensitive and efficient. They have to, because of the limited space that they have, okay? So everything that you create is running around in the limited space, so therefore the efficiency is getting better and better, okay? Alright. Plan, schedule. So planning and scheduling is so important in a production system. Again, in order for you to run the system, especially producing something, without planning and scheduling, it will fail, okay? So planning and scheduling is so important. How do we do it? We do this. So cycle time, okay, got to be short, and we're going to do everything we can to come up with the correct cycle time, okay? goals and priorities. Without the goal, without the priorities, you're not gonna go anywhere. You're gonna be totally stagnant. We don't want we don't want the stagnant system. We want the system to be running. So therefore, the goals, priority got to be established according to your business, nature of the business, the demand of your customer. Okay, the goals and priorities are not fixed. They are always changing. You have to update all the time, every day. Thus, your management is going to do that. And in lean environment, we use the just-in-time scheduling system, which is now being attacked by the supply chain issues. Okay, so currently we're studying how to design. Again, motion study is a design of the system. We come to understand the loyalty. Okay, loyalty can be altered or changed or eliminated. Okay, so therefore you have to come up with a system that is going to consider that, and you cannot believe everybody. You cannot rely on a particular supply chain, no matter how long they are with your business. Okay, you still have to do it. Actually, the production, okay, TPS, Toyota Production System, has a backup plan in supply chain. They call it A, B, C, and so on. So it depends on. So if this supply chain is acting out, then you're gonna move to the second one. Okay, these are all vendors anyway, and the third one. Okay, so they do have a backup like that, but then when these vendors combine together, then you're getting a major supply chain problem right there. Okay, so if they're separated, it's good, but if they're combined, you have a major issue because you can't rely on your backup plan. Okay, so you have to come up with something else. So anyway, so again, just-in-time scheduling system is what the lean system used, and it was pretty successful for some decades. But now is a time for us to update the system or redesign. Okay, I'm going to use pull scheduling. We already know that. Demand pulling the production line, improve the cycle time for planning and scheduling. Cycle time is so important. We're going to use again the same thing: motion, monitor, time, measure, and then use all that techniques, design, redesign, practice, think, correct, and then do it again. Balance the tech time. Okay, that's another. Cycle time, tech time. They are so important for planning, scheduling, goals, priorities. So important for planning and scheduling. The tech time is to align the operation station time with the customer demand. Okay, so you have the customer demand, and you have your production. The production have processes, and they have their own station right there. Tech time is right here, right? So TT, tech time, is at each station right there. The cycle time is from here all the way, okay, to the end product, from the raw material to the end product. And here is your customer sitting right there. So anyways, the tech time, and here is your cycle time. You also have a medium cycle time, okay, governing different workstations anyway. So depends on the complexity of your production system. We have different TT and CTs, okay. So anyway, right now, cycle time, tech time, goals, priorities, objectives, techniques, okay. They're important for planning, scheduling the production system. So if you get it, I'm quite happy. Yeah. All right, let's do the next one. It takes about plus or minus 5 years, okay, to run the lean manufacturing system. From the implementation, okay, and you run, and average, okay? Average is about 5 years, sometimes earlier, sometimes later, okay, to establish a lean manufacturing environment. So right now, everywhere they're practicing lean, from restaurant, fast food, from supermarket, and retail even, okay? They come to know it's so effective. All right, so the next one, the use of motion study tools to improve the environment. Again, production environment. We're gonna use the technique, the tools, the method, the approaches, okay, to control the activities in the production environment. So manufacturing production environment. So here, motion study tools that we use, okay, frequently in lean environment is number 1, process charts, number 2, operation charts, and number 3 is all this, and that's for the employees, okay, worker quality of life, psychology, ergonomics, and then safety. So this is like common sense, it's always there anyway, but we only see this, okay? We usually don't even realize they exist, okay? But a school environment, you will always see this. And then this too is kind of like, you don't even realize it's there, okay? Think about it, yeah? If you think about from elementary school all the way now, it usually is emotion counseling and psychology stuff. But for manufacturing environment, especially in lean environment, it's always safety. Safety, even, you know, it's a big part of the production system. And we usually forget the psychology and ergonomics, okay? We'll get into it on level. So anyway, on the management side is you're heavy on ergonomics and psychology, okay? Usually ergonomics, actually, management side. Safety is it's there, but then it's more of a shop. We call it the shop, the floor thing, okay? Management, then this is for the emotional sports stuff going in there anyway. Okay, so we use 2 charts. One is a process, the other one is the operations, and we take care of our employees. So that's what we do to improve the production or lean environment, okay? Process charts to take care of process and cycle time, operation charts to take care of operations and performance. Okay, time study tool. So we have 1 to 4. And these are what we frequently use, okay? What you usually see. Some company will use more than that, some company will use whatever they want to use. So anyway, generally 4 for time study. So we study the time, okay? Sometimes individual, sometimes group, okay? And we measure their performance. Work sample. Sample is nothing, but we take a look at, you know, you can't, if you have like a 100 station, you can study 100 station in a big production plant, right? You're going to study like, let's say 30 stations out of 100 or out of 150 stations, yeah? Or fewer. So that's called sampling. So study the time spent by workers in an activity, and you're going to sample out. You don't have to do the whole 100%, okay, of your workers' activity. You're going to sample out important activities. So that's work sampling. PTSS. To get the consistent data, okay, rapidly, we use PTSS. PTSS I already taught you, that's a predetermined time standard system, okay? And we use this technique or tools to get the data rapidly, okay? And then we're going to combine all of that time standards and operation charts, everything that we've got, and then put it into a single minute exchange of die. That's called the SMED. Some people call it SMED. Some people call it SMED system. These are just combined, right, all the standards and the charts. We also have another term that we use, QCO. So that's a quick changeover. So these are nothing but it's just a system to reduce the equipment changeover. Okay, you have to change the equipment, especially in a lean production environment, so that you can produce different things. Okay, different products. So quick changeover, single minute exchange again of die, and these are the operation control. Okay, and we use for time study. So here is an example of your work sampling study. It's just a table, and you can see the objective sample, type of sampling, data collection, and then the length of study and observation. Okay, so that's just a time study out of it. So that's what it's pretty much looked like in the lean environment. Okay, here is not the manufacturing or production industry, it's a service industry because you're at the hospital. Okay, but the technique is the same thing. The system is the same thing. The way technique is nothing but the way that you do, do a job. So that's how we do the work sampling job. Okay, by looking at the objective, by taking the sample, and then by understanding the method of sampling, by collecting the data, by understanding the length of that study, and then how many times you do that, okay, observations. So that's a lot, 2,835 observations to determine how nurses utilize their time, okay. So that's a pretty good study that you can come up with a very reliable time standard, because observation is pretty high. And the length of study is pretty good because you're looking at a day, 24 hours. And within that day, you're studying 4 day shifts. And then you're studying the 4 evening shifts. And you're studying 2 night shifts, okay, on weekdays and weekends. So that covers a variety of work shifts, right? So that's a pretty good period, okay, study period that they have chosen. Data collection is a real world because it's a direct observation. Type of sampling here they're doing 20 minutes for each shift, okay? So 20 minutes out of 8-hour shift is quite good, yeah? We have 16 RNs, these are position for the nurses. We have 10 to 12 CNAs, again, a particular position for the nurses. And then your office workers, the secretaries, 4, yeah? So that's how you do the time study to determine how nurses utilize their time. And this is pretty much a common technique that we do. And we systematically report it that way so anybody who look at it can understand what's going on in there. Alright, so if you do your job like this, you can pass what you have found to the next generation, and they can be able to learn from that to update the system to keep improving that system, okay, to maintain the survivability and continuity of the business or company. Yeah. All right. Okay, so this is the last slide, and here we're going to take a look at the performance measurement tools that we use. Okay. Of course, again, in a lean production environment. I keep saying production, you don't forget it's a manufacturing industry. The performance reporting as a team improvement tool. So performance reporting is nothing but you report your performance, okay, what you study. And this is a tool that we use to improve a team. So again, we have control over our own life. Sometimes we don't even have control over our own life. But then at work, at least you have a, like a certain control over your work. But then you don't have any kind of control over your team members' work. But then you have to work with everything that you cannot control at the same time. Okay, you just have to come up with the best that can happen within your team. You can always expect a positive result, and sometimes it will come negative, sometimes it will come okay, but sometimes it will come the same. Okay, but make sure that you give space for anything that can go wrong. So anyway, that's what real life is. Real life is not perfect. It's always going up and up and down. And sometimes you're gonna have a surprise attack. So you try to accept. Okay, you try to accept everything and learn from it and improve. Learn from it and improve. Don't go back and argue or attack. Okay, and that's something that you have to balance yourself as you get into the workforce. Okay, workforce is not your family, not a house. Because you come from a home environment, and then you come from school environment. Okay, then you come from the university environment. When we say workforce, there is a word, okay, which is this guy, force. You are forced, okay, completely forced in that system to do job. And so there is the stress level that you will be experiencing is a lot higher than here, and here. Okay, these are all different environment. Home is also a system. So in other words, we call it the family unit. Okay, family unit. Standard father, mother, children, right? You might have like a single parent and children. Single parent, single child. You might have a single parent, a single child, and seniors, okay, senior citizen, or you might have like adopted. So anyways, many different kind of people in it, but this is a little system compared to the workforce on organization, okay, or a business or corporation system right there. So school, the same thing. High school, okay, up to elementary all to high school is another system, but the more people, right, than your home system, and then university, so it's going greater this way. Workforce is, okay, it can be like this, or it can also be like this. Okay, so it depends on the size of that company you're working for. But then it's a rigid system. Okay, dynamic but rigid system. Here is a loose system, still loose. Okay, this is also kind of, there is a system, but then still not forced. The system isn't forced to you. Here is like completely, it is structured for you to perform. Okay, here you perform or not, that's up to you. Here the same thing is up to you. And here is, oh my god, just up to your parent or whatever, whoever living there. So we have the principles, okay, then that's not as so stressful. Or I would say like you have more understanding in these systems, okay. But for work is the understanding is low, therefore the stress level is high, okay. So for this kind of system, you always have a performance reporting by the team that you work with. And again, it's in a progressive line balancing and scheduling, okay, everything to force the system to keep on going at the same rate or pace. Okay, that's why we call it workforce. Progressive line balancing, especially here, we're talking about the lean production system, yeah. So you're producing something, so you have to keep at the same rate and pace from your operational processes that you're doing. So these are all the performance measurement tools that we use, okay, in order for that system to keep going. And work sampling type and pace of activities, monitoring, auditing, and in other words, these are just documentation, certification, standards, okay, that we follow in order to audit and monitor. You can't just monitor with whatever you think it is, okay? You have to monitor in a way that's been trained to do, so that the system again is going to go in the way you want it to go. ISO 9000, okay? That's what we use as a standard to do auditing for a lean environment. It's only not only 9,000, there are many different variations depending on the nature of the business. And then visual inspection, you inspect by looking. So that's, again, you are monitoring your employee performance. So anyway, so these are all the performance measurement tools. So if I ask you what are the performance measurement tools within the lean environment, performance reporting, progressive line balancing and scheduling, and then work sampling, auditing, and visual inspection. Okay. All right, so that's it for this chapter.